Hi, everyone. Welcome, Kotlin educators and aspiring course creators. Welcome, everyone, to our live stream on how to launch your Kotlin course with the new materials for educators. And that's a very special event for us because we've received a lot of requests from our community for such types of resources for learning and teaching Kotlin. And we're really thrilled to be presenting these resources to you today. My name is Ksenia Schneebeis, and I'm the Kotlin Education Advocate. Our guest speaker is Anastasia Birilla. Anastasia is an experienced Kotlin developer, an active Kotlin community member. She's also a JetBrains researcher and one of the authors behind the Programming in Kotlin course materials, which we're here to explore. Anastasia will share her teaching experience and will guide us through these resources that are available for free download for educators and are available on kotlinlang.org/education, the link that you see now on the screen. So please feel free to check out these resources, and there you will find programming in Kotlin course materials that include slides, a semester worth of slides with core Kotlin concepts explained, including speaker notes and references to external resources so that you can deepen your knowledge in certain Kotlin topics. And on top of the slides, there are assessment resources available upon request for educators. So we don't want these resources to be available for students because there are quizzes with keys, tests, and homework assignments. So please send us your requests and we'll send educators the links to these assessment resources. So as you see, that's a comprehensive toolkit to get you started on your Kotlin course or to enhance your existing Kotlin curriculum. And we're organizing this live stream to help you on your journey. And we want it to be interactive and engaging for you. So your questions and comments in the chat are very welcome. And to start things off, we'd like to know some things about you. Tell us how experienced you are with Kotlin. Tell us whether you're a beginner or an experienced developer. Maybe you already teach Kotlin to someone. And let us know where you're coming from. So please feel free to comment in the chat. And one more thing, you'll have the opportunity to ask your questions to Anastasia, and Anastasia and I will respond to your questions during the Q&A part of the live stream. So I will be collecting your questions. Feel free to send them in the chat. And now it's over to Anastasia.
Thank you, Ksenia. And hello, everyone. And as Ksenia said before, my name is Anastasia Birilla, and today I'm going to present you our new Kotlin materials for educators. And I would really grateful to know a little more about yours, as Ksenia said before, and please type answer to the chat, type if you teach Kotlin everywhere, and type your experience in Kotlin and about university you're coming from. It would be great to know our audience. First of all, I will share some information about my background, and I have bachelor and master degree in computer science, and also I'm getting my PhD in the computer science education field right now. And I work as researcher at JetBrains Research and as a Kotlin instructor at Constructor University and Neapolis University. And also, of course, I really like Kotlin, and I use it in my primary language at my work almost every day. And also, I really like Corgi too. And here you can see my Corgi Andy. And as you can see, he is eating a lot. He's really huge. But I'm not sure about, I don't know our audience, and I will share some information about who we are. And at JetBrains company, we have a strong career development background with over 20 years of the market. And over 10 years ago, we developed the Kotlin programming language, which we actively use in our work project every day. And as you maybe you know about it, but Kotlin is already the main language for Android development, and also it's become more and more popular in other areas. For example, server-side applications or data science. And if you go analyze, for example, GitHub repos, you will find that more than 1 million open repositories are available on GitHub right now, and also more than 5 million Kotlin users in total we have in the end of previous year. And now let's imagine that you want to create in your course about any programming language. It can be Kotlin, can be another language, and it can be for your university, for online courses, or maybe to teach your friends. And let's imagine you already have some expertise in this language, and you have expertise in teaching even, and you have draft of the presentation and some ideas about homework, about some assignment exercises, about quizzes. And how much time will you spend creating such content? Maybe 1 week, maybe 1 month, 3 months. Type please your proposals in the chat, because we were in exactly the same situation, and we decided to create public Kotlin materials and spent about 1 year. We couldn't imagine that we will spend about 1 year to create these materials that we will share today. And we involved many people who not only create content itself, but it was designers, editors, some managers, and many other people who helped us to manage all processes and create these materials. But yeah, as I said before, we also involved 8 people who work at JetBrains or were actively members of JetBrains education projects to create the content itself. And we really grateful for help for all of them, and would like to say a really big thank you for making these materials. Thank you a lot, Kirill, Evgeny, Gleb, Sergey, Marat, Evgeny, and Yaroslav. Without your help, we couldn't create these materials at all. If we consider our key learning objectives when we created this course. First of all, we would like to provide a solid foundation in Kotlin to allow students not only use key Kotlin features like null safeties or coroutines to solve practical tasks, but also to write efficient, readable, and maintainable code, because it's usually really important for industrial development, during internship, during working on projects on your job, or even your home project. Also, we would like to give a deeper understanding of fundamental concepts or computer science concepts, for example, object-oriented or functional programming principles, because sometimes we really believe that teaching a new programming language, for example, Kotlin, it's not only about teaching some basic constructions or features of this language, but also allow students to deep into some fundamental computer science concepts. And let's switch to the materials themselves. And first of all, we need to share that we have 2 main prerequisites for students who can be taught by these materials. And first of all, we expect basic programming knowledge in any programming language. It can be Java, C++, Haskell, Golang, or any other languages. And we expect the student can write some basic programming about printing hello world to console, or to find Fibonacci numbers. And the main reason for this is we don't provide detailed definition for some basic concepts like variables or loop or functions, because it's really fundamental topics, and they're usually considered in any courses about programming languages. And in this course, we expect that students are familiar with these basic definitions. The second one is basic knowledge of any IDE, but this IDE should support Kotlin, of course, because our material is about Kotlin. And for us, basic knowledge means that students know how to run applications with run button, how to create new files, to write code, or something like this. And because we are IDE providers and know how it can be expensive, we provide all the free educational license. Maybe you didn't know it. Yes, for our most popular product, IntelliJ IDEA, feel free to use it to teach Kotlin with our materials or with your own materials. You can find more about these educational licenses for you and for your students by this QR code. In our materials, we provide 11 lectures that cover 9 main topics, and you can see that we have less topics than number of lectures, and it's because several lectures are too big and can't be used for 2 classes. Also, for each topic, we have a quiz that can be provided to students to check their knowledge about these topics. And also, we provide some coding exercises for homework and 3 problem-solving sessions. And during this live stream, I will show you in more detail each type of these materials, how you can work with it with your students, how you can reuse it for your own Kotlin course. First of all, consider our curriculum, and the lectures cover all basic knowledge about the Kotlin language and its syntaxes, as you can see from this list of topics. But, however, we added several more advanced topics. For example, a lecture about build systems, the majority of material here about Gradle build system, or another one about Kotlin compiler. And for this last lecture about Kotlin compiler, we talk about the new K2 Kotlin compiler, how it works in on compilation stages, and what's the main difference between K2 compiler and the old one with old PSI frontend, and why we need to create a new Kotlin compiler frontend to improve performance on our Kotlin compiler. We also have 2 small additional lectures about exceptions and testings for about 20 or 25 minutes each, where we can share some theory about exceptions and testing and how can you test and handle exceptions in Kotlin. Also, I need to mention that the main target of these materials is development under JVM, but we are going to create more materials for other platforms, for Kotlin native or for Kotlin JavaScript. All topics from the curriculum are covered by presentations in Google Slides, and you can find them by this QR code from this slide. And we try to keep only up-to-date information and describe all main Kotlin features that support the last released version. Also, to make it easier to interact with these materials and to make it easier the teaching process, we added presenter notes that not only describe the slides itself, but also contain some useful links to official Kotlin documentations or additional resources that can be shared between students or for your own purposes to know this concrete topic deeply. And also, we don't limit you to use our materials only in the forms that we distribute. Feel free to make a copy and modify them in your own way and your own purposes. For example, you can select several concrete topics and put it in your existing Kotlin course, or for example, you can combine several lectures or problem-solving sessions to create your own intensive or workshop. Yeah, feel free to reuse our materials in any ways. Also, as I said before, each theory topic is covered by quizzes with 5 questions each, and we usually provide our students 15 minutes to solve one quiz, but you can also have another amount of time to solve these quizzes. You can provide less and more time. And since we use Google Forms for the quizzes, they can be graded automatically by setting keys as answers. And when students submit their response, you can just give the final grade automatically by Google Forms functionality. But we, as Ksenia also said before, we don't share the quizzes and the case in public access to avoid distributing them between students, because usually students ready to search everything before course has started. But feel free to send their request to our email, and we will provide you with all quizzes and with all case, and you can reuse them in your Kotlin course. We also create 4 open template repositories on GitHub that can be used as homework assignments for this course. Each repository contains automatic unit tests to check correctness of the solution, and also automatic code quality checks to check the student submissions follow official Kotlin style guides. It allows you to distribute these homeworks between students, and you have several ways to check it. For example, you can just send this repository to students, receive some submissions that should pass all tests and pass all code quality checks. But you can, for example, as we can do in our own course, provide detailed code review for each student to help them change architecture or use some built-in Kotlin functions. Also, we leave some comments for the instructor to the README file about grading these exercises, how many points can be assigned to each of homework, or how can be distributed these points between different parts of the task. But feel free to change these instructions and grade each homework in your own way. Also, we didn't put solutions to the repositories. They can be provided also by request. Feel free to contact us. Yeah, because it's also because we don't want to distribute solutions between students. Okay, consider all homework that we have, and the first homework covers 2 first lectures and requires to implement some server parts and predefined web applications to create very famous card game. The game, it's Alias game, and you can find this repository by QR code on this slide. Here we don't require from students to know how client-server application should work, because we implement client side and a part of server side that interact with client side. And for students, it's necessary just to implement some models on services to make this game alive and next reuse to play with their friends, or maybe put into portfolio. And because it will be the ready projects, ready applications, students can put new additional functionality to improve this game, to put to portfolio, or to add new additional topics for this game to play with friends. After solving this task, students can also, we released 2 additional resources that cover the first 2 lectures about introductions and object-oriented programming that can help students to just get more practice for simple concepts in Kotlin. There are 2 small project-based courses inside IntelliJ IDEA that students need to implement console or web applications. And first part is several simple console applications like some chatbot or some several console game. But for second part, it's several web applications like Alias applications, but for other card games. These courses are publicly available and can be found on JetBrains marketplace by these codes. And in the future, we are going to cover more topics in this interactive way, because students usually really like to implement some interactive applications to put them into portfolio next by improving the base functionality with their own. The second homework is more complex and requires to implement a balanced search tree with comparable case from scratch. This task is more complex, the first one, and probably the most difficult task in this course and these materials, and usually requires more time than other tasks. And this task helps students to try building the whole architecture and to know deeply the Kotlin language, because usually while implementing other tasks, students usually just implement some parts of this architecture, but cannot build the whole architecture from scratch. And after completing this course, we expect from students to be sure that they can just set up their own projects and implement some flexible architecture that can be extended in the future, that can be easily supported by other developers. The next homework is about the Gradle build system, and in these projects, usually students don't need to write code a lot, and the main goal of this application, of this homework, is just to fix a Gradle blocking build for a simple multimodal project, and we collect some popular issues for students when they are struggling with Gradle, and students need just to fix them step by step to learn how can they solve different problems with build systems for Kotlin projects. We use Gradle here because Gradle is the most popular build system for Kotlin applications. And this task will teach students to create their own simple Gradle applications and also to set up or to change dependencies, for example, in the existing one, because often programming courses don't cover some additional topics from ecosystem, and students after finishing these courses cannot set up project and just work with an existing one. Yeah, and we decided to put this homework in our materials. The last available homework requires the implementation of a console application with non-blocking input that writes its results to a file. And here we provide a choice to the students to implement this application with a classic approach, classic parallel approach, or by using Kotlin features, Kotlin coroutines. Usually about half of students use parallel approach and half of them use approach with coroutines. We don't, and also, as you can see, we don't provide any homework for the last topic, advanced topic about Kotlin compiler in this material, since the Kotlin compiler API is unstable now, but we are going to create more exercises for this topic and for other one in the future, when Kotlin compiler API will be stable. Also, in addition to homework, we provide problem-solving sessions to have some additional coding practice for students. And the main difference between these sessions, they provide smaller tasks that require less time. For example, we usually provide 1 or 2 days to submit this task, but it's also great way to teach students how write in Kotlin with smaller tasks. But we implemented them as private repositories to avoid distribution between students because of limited time to complete this task, and to get access to the problem-solving sessions and their submissions. You also can contact us by email, send a request, and we will share it for you. And since we use GitHub repositories for homework and problem sessions, they can be used in several ways in your own course. And the first approach is that we use in our courses, because we also use these materials for our own courses. You can use GitHub Classroom with source repos as template repos. In this case, a special link will be generated, and you can provide this link to the students, and they can follow this link, and new repositories will be created automatically. And also you can set up some privacy. It can be private repositories, yeah, to avoid distributing them between students. Yeah, it's a great way, but feel free to use Other approaches, for example, you can fork or download source repo and distribute it between students in any possible ways. For example, you can upload it to your internal university or course system, or you can upload it to another version control system. Yeah, feel free to use it in your any convenient way, because we're sure that it can be used very easily, because we set up the continuous integration via GitHub Actions, and also we put some README. But if you have any questions, you can always contact us, and we will answer and help to reuse our materials. Also, before sharing this course with you, with our community, we already tried this course in 2 universities for 1 semester in each, for in total 85 students. And we learned a lot, and we would like to share several important takeaways that we believe that they will help you to create your own course without our mistakes, and take into account our problems that we had. First of all, in our first iterations of the course, we created graded lectures and put it in the beginning of the course. It was after first or second lectures, when students don't know Kotlin in a proper way, because they just had only 1 homework assignment, and they didn't learn much. And Gradle is really a magic box. It's really complex system for students at all, and they were really struggled to interact with Gradle, to understand how it works, because they even didn't understand how they can reuse Kotlin for to write and build scripts, but at the same time they had to learn new constructions and new functionality of new build system. And when we realized it, in our next iterations, we reordered our lectures in our curriculum to put Gradle in the middle of our semester, when students are familiar with some important topics, and they already had some experience with several homework assignments and with quizzes, of course. Yeah, and it really helped, because in this way students need just to understand some points of Gradle, about Gradle functionality, and don't think about how they can implement it by using Kotlin language. Next, we also realized the students usually struggle to use Kotlin built-in functions or constructions and try to implement them from scratch, especially if they work with collections or with something that has a lot of built-in functions in Kotlin standard library. It's really important to highlight these moments. You can use it. You can do it during your classes or seminars, or also in code review. We provide some comments in detailed code review for our students, and we also started implemented additional exercises that I mentioned here about small courses inside IDE, to help students to practice with built-in constructions by their own way. It's really helped to show students some important function in some small examples, yeah, because it's impossible to show all functions that Kotlin has, yeah, and it's really helped. You can also reuse this takeaway. Also, as you can know, in Kotlin there are no primitives, and it's really hard to accept the lack of this, especially for students who have some Java or C++ experience, and also they ask a lot of questions how Kotlin can be compatible with Java, because Kotlin doesn't have primitives. And we highlighted several interoperability aspects in our lecture about JVM and Kotlin compiler, to show how it works under the hood, to show students how they can how can Kotlin interact with other languages, and how it works, and how it's possible to delete some feature from language, but to make it still fully compatible with Java, for example. Also, usually students have experience with object-oriented languages like C++ or Java, and is the reason why it's difficult to follow a new concept and use, for example, extension functions and modifiers like internal to extend existing functionality. Because if students need to add a new function to existing class, they just try to usually create a new one to enhance from old one to put new function inside this class, and yeah, like in traditional object-oriented paradigm. But yeah, here it's really important to just highlight that you can do it in an additional way. For example, we have these tasks, this kind of tasks in our problem-solving sessions when students need to implement some extension functions and to learn how they can extend existing classes without creating new ones. It also was really important and unusual, and we really surprised about this fact. Also, students really like to study not only Kotlin itself, because usually when you, especially for students who have some experience, some background, because usually studying new programming languages are almost the same. When you learn some programming language syntaxes, yeah, but it's boring because courses usually almost the same, yeah, and it's the reason why we put additional related topics like coroutines, compiler, or Gradle, because we can give more interest and more influence to students to share some unusual topics. They usually, especially about, for example, Gradle or compiler, because about Gradle there are a lot of resources, but vice versa for compiler, it's almost no open sources about how it works, especially for new Kotlin compiler. Yeah, and they're really excited to learn something new that they have had experience before our Kotlin classes. And we are here for you, and you can ask any questions and share your own stories about your experience with our materials. We can improve them together. We can add new topics. We can highlight new Kotlin features for new Kotlin versions, for example, or we can put new coding exercise to different topics. And feel free to join us in our social networks to see some updates or share your feedback. You can join our Slack for educators. Also, you can check Kotlin education portal and follow our Kotlin Twitter to see some news. Also, as I said before, you can use our free education license for our top-rated product IntelliJ IDEA to teach Kotlin, and maybe to just use Kotlin in your universities or courses. Also, finally, we are happy to announce that we are going to extend these materials for more advanced topics, for example, for Flow, Kotlin DSL, profiling, reflection, IntelliJ platform is the case, and others. And we are always open to your suggestions. Feel free to contact us to share which topics are really useful for your Kotlin course, for your purposes, and we can create these materials together to extend these materials together and to help you teach Kotlin in your university or courses. So it was all from me for today, and we will be happy to answer your questions together with Ksenia. Ksenia? Yeah, you're here. Yeah, thank you a lot. And you can contact me by any of these links in LinkedIn, Twitter, or by mail. Yeah, feel free to contact me. Yeah, Ksenia, we don't hear you because you are muted.
Sorry, yeah. Thanks so much for the great presentation, Nastya, and guiding us through all of these resources. We've got a couple of questions in the chat, and I encourage everyone who is out there to use this opportunity and to ask Anastasia your questions. If you had a chance to look at the resources, maybe you've already thought of something you'd like to clarify, feel free to share your comments about this. And meanwhile, I'll read what we've already received. The first question was about hyperscale, using hyperscale courses for students to practice at home, whether there was such an experience for you, Nastya, and your students in the courses that you taught.
No, we didn't use it because the main reasons of this, because hyperskill has paid subscriptions, and usually it's I'm not sure if hyperskill provides some special offers for students. Ksenia, you can check it, yeah. And yeah, it's the reason why we created some courses inside IDEA with JetBrains Academy with the Edu plugin to provide some free material that everyone can just download it to solve these exercises, yeah, because not all students can pay for subscriptions, yeah, and we don't want to, to limit students, yeah, who cannot pay for subscription, yeah.
Then I have some good news for you, Nastya, and our viewers, that Hyperskill has recently switched to a freemium subscription. So all of the Kotlin course materials that are currently on the platform, they are available for free. So the functionality is a bit limited, and but still anyone can just walk through the entire Hyperskill Kotlin course for free there. So we encourage you to check out these courses, and I'm sure there are Kotlin core courses, there are more specific Kotlin and more advanced Kotlin topics on Hyperskill. So I'm sure there would be many interesting resources there as well for you. And
you can just combine them and, for example, have some lectures with presentations and next to give some practice inside Hyperskill platform, for example.
Yeah. And another question we got is about whether this material is suitable for teaching introduction to programming, for instance, first or second semesters. I think Nastya, you mentioned that it requires some basic knowledge, but what do you think for first or second semester? Would it suit?
I think it can be suitable if it's some computer science university or computer science faculty, when usually students apply with basic knowledge in any programming language than we just learn at school. Yes, and when the students can solve some basics programs like, I don't know, print hello world, as I said before, yeah. If you have students with this kind of experience, it can be suitable, yeah. But if isn't, you need to, it can be great to, for example, provide link to Hyperskill to learn some basic concepts like what is variable, like function definition or loop definitions, and next you can use these materials, yeah, in any way, yeah, because we explain all other concepts, yeah, except only very, very basic one, yeah.
Thanks. We have one more question, which I've already answered to in the chat, but maybe you can expand this reply. The question was about whether Kotlin was used for Android only, or whether a person could develop apps for iPhone as well.
Yeah, on Kotlin Conf recently it was announced that now Kotlin can be used for all the iOS developments, yeah, and you can find, probably Ksenia already shared some links about it, or links from Kotlin Conf, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Kotlin is a multi-platform language, and even at KotlinConf, even Google announced this Kotlin multi-platform compose framework as well. Is there any plans to include this in your other Kotlin ecosystem courses?
Yeah, you can free, if we have some requests about it, we can include it, because as I said before in my last slide, that we are open to your suggestion, because we have some some topics, and we already plan to put and have started developing these parts. But we are always open to your any suggestion, and if it's a really interesting topic for our community, we also can put materials for this topic. Yeah, of course.
Got it. Thanks. I don't see any more questions in the chat. So if anyone has some last thing to ask us, that's your last chance now, because otherwise, oh, here, Kotlin, yeah, there is a comment that it can be used for backend. That's correct. And yeah, I think we don't have any more questions, but if later on you think about something, now you have all of our contacts, feel free to reach out. And yeah, and we'd be curious to know on how you implement the resources that we've talked about today. So with that, I'd like to thank Anastasia for the great presentation and guiding us through the resources. I'd like to thank everyone for their participation. Thanks to our viewers. Oh, one question I see before we wrap it up. Any news on the release of the K2 compiler?
This question is more about for Ksenia, but it should be released in the end of the year. But I can be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I have a more precise date for that. You could watch a presentation from the recent Kotlin Conf we had in April, and Roman Yelizarov speaks there about this release. You can watch, and that would be probably the most actual and recent information on that.
But you can already use it, and you can enable some special flag to use K2 compiler. It's pretty stable now, and you can just try it right now, to compare performance between K2 compiler and the old one. It's really incredible. It's really cool. Yeah.
We have some thanks in the chat, and yeah, we are also very thankful to everyone who was here with us during this live stream. So let's wrap it up and stay in touch on all of the channels that we mentioned. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.